The top stories: Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov lands in Addis Ababa for a third leg visit in Africa. And Algeria expresses keenness to strengthen bilateral relationship with Ethiopia. Hello and thank you for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. President Sahle-Work Zewde has received at her office the UNICEF representative in Ethiopia, Gianfranco Rotigliano. The two discussed the overall situation of children in the country and Ethiopia's participation in the upcoming Transforming Education Summit. The UNICEF has recently called on the international community to enhance response to the deteriorating humanitarian situation in various parts of Ethiopia triggered by drought and conflict. Foreign Minister Demeke Mekonnen held exploratory discussions with experts from the UN International Commission of Human Rights as a follow-up to the discussion held in Geneva in May. The experts are in Addis Ababa to discuss with government officials and other stakeholders to try to find mutually acceptable modalities for possible engagement with the government in discharge of their mandate. Members of the UN International Commission of Human Rights experts on Ethiopia are undertaking a visit to Ethiopia from 25th to 30th July 2022. This will be the Commission's first visit to Ethiopia since it was established by the Geneva-based UN Human Rights Council on 17th December 2021. Set up by the United Nations Human Rights Council, UNHCR, the UN International Commission of Human Rights is expected to conduct interviews with state role players, non-state actors, and victims of the almost two-year civil war. A communique and report on the findings will be issued. The Commission's three experts include Kari Betty Murungi, chair from Kenya, Stephen Ratner from the US, and Radhika Kumaraswamy from Sri Lanka. Sergei Lavrov, Russia's foreign minister, landed in Addis Ababa late this afternoon, the third leg of his Africa trip after Cairo and Brazzaville. The official state visit comes just days after Russia, Ukraine and the UN inked a deal to unblock the grain shipments from Ukrainian ports, making the visits highly strategic. Since the war in Ukraine erupted, it has had dire effects on the world economy and especially on the economy of developing countries. African nations are among those most affected by the ripples of the war. Experts say African countries should use opportunities such as Lavrov's visit to push for their own interests, and that Russia must be willing to provide some kind of concrete economic and financial support for the challenged African economies. Lavrov was accorded a warm welcome upon his arrival at the Bole International Airport. Take a look.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Addis News Hour with the headline.
Thank you for joining me here at the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa.
Good evening to you all. A very warm welcome to ETV News. I am Grum Tariku.
Good morning, you're watching Addis News Hour, commencing with the headlines.
Remedies for polarized politics affecting its peace and stability.
ATV English will bring you fresh stories on the diplomatic arena. Stay tuned.
The United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, stated that the drought in Ethiopia has been devastating for children. Many people have lost their livelihoods and been displaced from their homes due to the drought condition. Director for UNICEF's Office of Emergency Programs, EMOPS, Manuel Fontaine, has paid visit to drought-affected people in Gode area, Somali state, and those who have been affected by conflict in the state of Afar. 70% of health facilities in Afar region have been destroyed due to conflict, he said. UNICEF Ethiopia is reaching the most vulnerable women and children in Afar region with essential medicines through mobile health and nutrition teams. He called on the international donor community to mobilize support to address the situation in the two regions of Ethiopia. Algeria has expressed keenness to maintain its bilateral relationship with Ethiopia. This has been indicated during the occasion of Algerian Independence Day commemoration held here in the capital, Addis Ababa. Algerian ambassador to Ethiopia, El Hamdi Salah, stressed that numerous foreign friends fought alongside Algerians for the country's independence, that Algeria remains grateful for the sacrifices being made. Tegasar Nisa has the following account.
During the celebration of Algerian Independence Day here in the capital, Addis Ababa, Algerian ambassador to Ethiopia, El Hamid Salah, stressed Algeria remains grateful for the sacrifice it enjoyed during its trying times from various countries.
On the night of the 1st November 1954, the National Liberation Front released the declaration calling for the gathering of all Algerian people energies to put an end to the colonial system. The success of the national revolution lies in the rallying of all political parties and civil society segments to the National Front of Liberation. Numerous foreigners, friends of Algeria from all around the world, fought for the independence of Algeria. As to never forget their sacrifice, the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, inaugurated on the 4th of July a commemorative plaque at the Martyrs Sanctuary in Algiers containing the name lists of Algeria's revolution friends. May they find here our warmest gratitude for their invaluable support for Algerian revolution.
He also stressed keenness to strengthen bilateral relationship with Ethiopia.
Algeria maintains historical relation of friendship and cooperation with Ethiopia, as evidenced by the state visit made by Her Excellency Madam Sahle Worke Zewde, the President of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, to Algeria from 4 to 7 July 2022, during which she attended the official celebration of the 60th anniversary of national independence. Our two heads of state decided during this fraternal meeting to raise economic cooperation to the level of excellent political relations existing between our two countries, notably by establishing very soon a direct air link between Algiers and Addis Ababa.
The ambassador went on saying that Algeria never fails in commitment to Africa in fighting terrorism. During the occasion, Ambassador Fassah Shaul, Director General to African Affairs of Ethiopian Foreign Ministry, congratulating Algerians for their Independence Day, he further alluded that Ethiopia values the bilateral relations of the two countries.
I congratulate you on the 16th anniversary of independence of Algeria. Value our relationship. Her Excellency President Sahle-Work Zewde also had an official visit, state visit to Algeria, and we have signed, we have discussed, and we got a guidance on many cooperation areas, which we will do very soon with the Joint Ministerial Commission to take place in Addis Ababa, and the horizon and the opportunities open for all of us. And I encourage Ambassador, you come forward, push forward, and me, I will do the same, so that Ethiopia and Algeria will march together.
The national holiday in Algeria commemorating colonial Algerian independence from France happens annually on 5th of July.
Welcome back. The National Defense Forces disclosed that measures have been taken to clean up remnants of the terrorist Al-Shabaab who were cut off from the group that was destroyed while trying to infiltrate through eastern Ethiopia. Briefing the media, Defense Force Deployment and Coordinator of the Temporary Security Command Post, Major General Tesfaye Ayalew said the enemy has of late attempted to mount an offensive in the eastern part of the country. He pointed out that the terrorist Al-Shabaab group tried to conduct attacks in the border areas in Somali region. However, their attempts were thwarted by security forces, he added. Even though the militants of terrorist Al-Shabaab infiltrated parts of the Somali state, security forces had encircled them and destroyed more than 100 members of the group. He stated that vehicles that had been used by the group were completely destroyed, adding that measures have now been underway to clean up the members of the terrorists who were cut off. Producing ethical and vibrant citizens from the Ethiopian education system has remained to be the major challenge of the Education Ministry. Talking to ETV English today, Minister of Education Professor Birhanu Nagga said his ministry is prioritizing various activities to participate responsible institutions to help its efforts in providing successful deeds, mainly the quality of education. Take a look at the story.
I think it is important to say two things. One, in fact, once we complete this process of making the universities chartered universities, we eventually don't need to even give one university entrance examination. Every university would start recruiting its own students. It gives exam on the basis of what its requirements are. Therefore, a national exam will not be necessary at that point. So we are talking about between now and this period where all universities are chartered universities who recruit their own students based on their needs and their specialization and things of that sort. In the meantime, a national exam is the only mechanism to allocate students to these various universities. And that has been having a serious problem where the integrity of the exams were seriously questioned because exams, as you said, were stolen through various means, and that has significantly compromised the integrity of the national exam. The ministry was working on this process with technology companies, with donor institutions and things of that sort, and then COVID came, things got disrupted. So while the thinking is that these digital exams would provide significant security of the exams, because it is very expensive to get, if we want to give, for example, this exam digitally now, we need close to 1 million tablets, and these are not cheap. They are very expensive, and I think our last estimate is about $470 million to do that. And given the economic circumstances that we're having now, the fiscal situation of the country, it is very difficult. So we're looking on the one hand to see if we can achieve through partner support and things of that sort. We still have to give the exam in the old way. But what we want to do in the meantime is we have to find a way to actually make sure that the exams are secure, that every student has equal chance, that there is no possibility of compromising the integrity of the exam. So for the next exam, which definitely is going to be on paper, we have agreed that we are going to give the exams in federal institutions rather than in schools.